That's right, folks. Welcome back to Season 3 of the Triple CFB Show with your host, CD Spreads, and I'm joined here with my good partner, The Creep. How's it going today, Creep?
Good. Not too bad. Not too bad of a day. How about you, CD Spreads?
Well, can't complain. It's a Friday here, week 3 of college football. What a great first 2 weeks it's been. I know we've been absolutely raking in the cash, as we always do. We're first week merchants, are we not?
Yes, we are. Always hot to start the season. I mean, we understand the transfer portal, new guys coming in, but now we're into week 3. We're kind of heading to the season, middle part of the season. It's getting interesting.
That's
There's
right.
A lot of interesting games.
That's right. We figured we'd stop just making money on our own and maybe be a little generous and share some of our picks with our friends and family. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a quick recap of how much money we made last week, because how much was it? It was a lot.
It was a lot.
It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so we just need to let you know what we placed so you have a little faith in what we're going with this week. I think to start out, last week, we were all over those Texas Longhorns, and we absolutely smacked their money line. Kern, we put about 100 each on that money line. Is that correct?
Spread, actually. We knew they were going to win by a lot.
Knew.
Yeah.
Oh, we took that spread, no problem. We took that spread. We put about 100 each, sat back, didn't even have to watch the second half.
No, it was over.
It was over. We teed up. What'd you shoot yesterday? What'd you shoot last weekend?
Like a 75, I think. Yeah.
Jeez.
Not too bad.
Wow, not too bad. Yeah. We were out there with our good friend Jurgen, and he was shooting not quite a 75, but
No.
he was not smart enough to tail us with Texas. And, that's on us for not releasing this podcast.
Yes.
So that's what we're here for. We went right back after that and went to go watch at Bobby V's Sports Bar. And we were all over Dylan Raiola and the Big Red. Go Cornhuskers, because we knew that Deion Sanders was a fraud.
Fraud. Absolute fraud. His son's a fraud. Can't throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
His draft stock is falling apart right now.
Might as well be holding up a Seiko with that wrist celebration. No, sir. Yeah. I don't know. We'll get into the Buffs in a minute to talk about their big in-state rivalry matchup with Colorado State. Some fighting words from a couple white boys on that team. I don't know. They're angry.
They are angry.
They're really angry.
Last year was an interesting matchup. Obviously, the big hit, if I remember correctly, that took Travis Hunter out for a couple of weeks. It actually just completely derailed their season last year. So,
what, did he break a rib on that or something?
Yeah, something of that nature. I mean, he was out for a couple of weeks. So, it'll be interesting to see this year. Obviously, Travis Hunter's been playing a lot, been playing almost every snap.
Yeah.
And this is about a time where he can get hurt again. And that could... I mean, they're already off to a bad start to the season, and so it could just keep getting worse for them.
I mean, the problem to me seems to be their offensive line.
Yeah.
It looks like they're starting a Colgate University offensive line out there.
Probably are.
I think JY could get around that line if he really was, persistent and wanted to get around that line.
And he is persistent.
That's right. I think that the problem with taking Colorado is just, nobody's really taking accountability in that program at the moment. I think that just they don't really understand what it takes to win. I think that they're just there for clicks. Deion's going to leave after the year. I think that, they might get some high draft picks out there, but I just don't really like the direction of the team. I mean, they were horrible against Nebraska. I don't know. That being said, do you have any direction on how you're leaning with this one?
I mean, the line's not bad at -7. I think it is.
I think it jumped to 7.5.
Okay, 7.5. I mean, Colorado State isn't that good of a program, but last year it was interesting. It was a tight game, if I remember correctly. So, I probably will end up leaning Colorado, but it's just because of those 3 players. I mean, it's really just Shedeur, Travis Hunter, and Jimmy Horn. And once those Shedeur and Travis Hunter leave this year, that program is an absolute disaster, and I will fade them every game next year.
Totally agree. I think that if it's going to jump up to 7.5, I think maybe just the play here is honestly Colorado money line, because I have no idea how much they win by. Could be a ton, could be a little, but that's probably my play there. If you want a good money line option, just go with the Buffs straight up, and I think they probably squeak out one and maybe bounce back. But God, that program does not have that many wins left in them this year.
No.
Well, jumping out from the Buffs into some bigger games, we actually have a Friday night game this week that's going to feature on both your 3-team creepy money line parlay and my 4-team spreads, CD spreads, pick'em spreads parlay. Why don't we just jump into this Arizona K-State? Great game.
Fantastic game, yeah. I mean, there are some serious weapons on Arizona. Their ability to pass the ball has been shown, and so I think this will be more a test of their defense and whether they can handle top level competition. I don't have a lot of faith in Kansas State. I think they are slightly overrated this year.
Oh yeah,
and so I think this will be a good test for Arizona, and they can make a run right now in the Big 12, and the Big 12 is very vulnerable. So I think this is a really good opportunity for them to jump up the rankings and show off some of these weapons.
Yeah,
that wide receiver is absolutely filthy.
And I'm not even gonna
try to
say his name.
Can't.
He's a great Hawaiian guy, I would guess, Pacific Islander at worst.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is special. And the quarterback, I think one of them starts with a P.
Yeah.
Don't
even say it.
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna try.
No.
But he's special too.
Yeah.
He's great. And I think K-State, their quarterback, it's that guy with the long hair.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Casey? No? Something? He's okay. He's not that good. He was a 4-star coming out of high school. I just don't like the long hair. They played a close one against Tulane last week, right?
Yeah,
I think they only won by one score.
Yeah.
Tulane was like 24-30. Either way, I think even the game being in K-State doesn't matter too much tonight. I think that this is going to be a real coming out party for people that maybe don't have these Arizona Pacific Islanders as household names yet. I think you will see that tonight. They're going to feature on my 14 spreads, but we will jump into that in a moment. Any other big games this week that you want to talk about?
I'm trying to think. I think there's some interesting games. The Alabama-Wisconsin game could be interesting.
That's a fun one.
That's a fun one. It's unique, I guess, that this matchup I don't think has ever really happened.
I don't remember.
But I think Alabama has just got too much speed, too many weapons.
Yeah.
I think it's not going to be that great of a game. I think I don't want to go too much into our parlays, but the LSU game, that is game day correct this week.
That's correct.
And so that will be a fun game and fun to see them in.
Great game.
Baton Rouge.
A lot of fun.
And seeing the environment will be fantastic.
Yep.
But
the game actually, I believe,
is it in Carolina?
Yeah, I think it's in wherever they play, and I just really don't remember.
Well, apologies then.
Buford? No, is it Buford? No.
Did not know that, but I think that could be an interesting game. But I think this week there are some kind of like in-state rivalry kind of games, but they're not like big teams. I think Utah and Utah State are playing as well. Oregon State. But there are there's a limited amount of ranked matchups this week.
So Columbia, South Carolina. That's right.
Columbia, yeah. And so it's it's a unique week. There are some games out there that are I think interesting from a betting perspective, but I think the actual games and quality, I think in the next couple of weeks we'll see some of these more serious matchups as kind of in conference games get more intense. And but right now I think this week is a little different.
Yeah, and, I'm looking through a couple of the games. Obviously, there's a couple really interesting ones out there. We have a 12:45 Boston College at Missouri.
Yeah,
that could be fun.
That could be a good game.
A lot of great weapons. The quarterback for BC is great, or at least showed to be great. And Missouri obviously has Luther Burden, and he's a dog. He'll be a first-round pick. And they look great. So what is Missouri, a top 15 team in the country right now? Top 20?
They're top 10.
Top 10 maybe?
Yeah, I think they're like 6th or 7th. And then
we'll
obviously
see. That's a big line, 14.5. I'm not exactly sure if Boston College's win against Florida State means that much. So maybe that's maybe if I was going to lean in a way, you think Missouri, but 14.5 is a huge line. So I don't really know. Maybe that's probably a game that I'm going to stay away from because there's too much unknown there about BC.
I agree completely. And BC, they obviously it was a great coming out game for Bill O'Brien and made them look really good and show kind of maybe some progress and some growth in the program. But to say that was like a statement win by any means, after the way Florida State's looked and continues to look, I think you just can't say that. So I think there's just too much unknown in that game. And Missouri, I still don't know if they're really the kind of program that can be dependable in these kind of closer matchups. And so,
yeah. And speaking about Florida State, they actually tip off just a one I wanted to throw your way. They actually play or host Memphis at noon, and the line is only 6.5. Is the Florida team that bad that they can't beat Memphis by a touchdown? Memphis. Yeah. Really? At
Memphis,
home? Yeah. They can't be that bad, right?
Oh, Memphis, I'm sure it has some dogs in them.
Well, okay, yeah. They have some athletes. That's right.
They definitely have some great athletes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is an embarrassment. It is an embarrassment to see Florida State like that. I think, obviously, there's just limited faith in DJ, and it makes sense. He struggled. He struggled at Clemson, and he just hasn't progressed at all. And you think after all these years that he would look like a true quality college quarterback, and he just has not turned out that way.
No, and even though that 6.5 line is honestly an embarrassment for it to be that low at home against Memphis, I would rather bet on T. Brewer in IM football than DJU. So I'm going to actually pass on that line. Just who knows. Speaking of big-time losers as well, we have Notre Dame on the road against Purdue, and that's a 7.5 line. Again, my instinct is hammer that, right? Like Notre Dame should be beating Purdue by more than 7.5, but obviously, clearly Riley Leonard and the offense is a little bit inept. I mean, you scored, what did they score? 10 points against Northern Illinois? Was it more? 14, 13? It was
16 to 17 or something.
13 to 10, 16.
It was an embarrassment.
I mean, you can't score points at home against Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
NIU with Unk. And don't get me wrong, Unk coached a good game.
He did.
But come on now. 13 points, 16 points, that's bad. I can't touch, in good conscience, I can't tell the people of this podcast to throw money on Notre Dame. I can't.
And Purdue has a good defense.
They do.
I think they've let up like 3 points so far in the first 2 games in total. So I think it could be an interesting game. I would believe that Notre Dame will bounce back, but at the same time, if this game is tight or they go downhill, like this game, the last game this season could be in a really bad spot for Notre Dame. Looking forward.
And then a couple more I just want to toss your way. We have the backyard brawl. Is that what they call it? West Virginia, Pittsburgh. That's a 2-point spread. I'm not, I probably won't even watch this game, but I know some people care about that game. Maybe you care about that game.
I do.
I have no idea. Perhaps that's a omen of future things to come on this podcast. One more that I want to throw your way. Actually, I'll have another one after this. But Texas A&M at Florida. The line is 4. Does this all depend on who is the starting quarterback for Florida?
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, it definitely does from a betting perspective. If Mertz is the quarterback for Florida, I will hammer Texas A&M.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. All day, every day. Now, if DJ Lagway is the quarterback for Florida, he did look really good last week coming off the bench.
Well, they played who? Samford last week?
Samford or whatever it was.
I
forget who it was. But, yeah, he did look good. But, again, it was Samford.
Yeah.
And so to say that was a real test is a lie. And Texas A&M, while they've been kind of dysfunctional, does have pieces. They have stars. They have good defensive linemen. They have good pieces that can create some problems for DJ, and it's not just going to be wide open targets every play like it was last game. So I think this would be, if he is playing, this would be a really good test, a true test.
Yeah.
And obviously, if he struggles against Texas A&M, their schedule, it is going to be a rough season, and I could see that team, even with DJ in, really, really struggling against when they truly get into that SEC schedule and some of the monsters that they have to play this year.
Yeah, I mean, how much does home field advantage play a role here? We'll see. They got dog-walked by Miami, though Miami's in Florida too, so I don't know what the distribution of the crowd is. Just one to keep in mind for you folks. Keep an eye on the quarterback situation there. You might be able to get good value if DJU starting. Me personally, I would touch the upside. If DJU starting, kind of just feels like one of those kids that might break onto the scene and they can steal one at home, turn the tide of the season, or at least get a win before they just go into a gauntlet and get hood-ard for the rest of the season, as my friend the Creep says here. A couple more to keep your eyes on. Tulane, Oklahoma. That line's 12.5 in favor of Oklahoma. Tulane plays people close, just if you're thinking about trying to take the point somewhere. It's in Oklahoma, but Tulane's a good ball club. They play opponents very close. I don't see that many other ones on the sheet that are really popping out at me for the rest of the evening. You have Georgia, Kentucky. Not too much to comment on there. It's a 22-point line for Georgia away. I think Indiana, UCLA, Big Ten matchup could be interesting for those that care. Me personally, I'm not a Big Ten guy. I don't watch that style of football too often, so I will stay away from that one. And I think that's it. I don't think I'm missing any. That looks like the whole slate for us about relevant topics. Why don't you just go ahead, Curran, and we can hop right into your 3-team creepy money line parlay.
You're a creep. Get away from me. Well, sir, I'm on the third sphere. I should be authorized to be here. I'll break it over your head. Get away from me, you crumb.
All right.
Wow, okay, there we go. What a sound word there for me, the creep. For my 3-team money line parlay. First game is Arizona versus Kansas State. We already mentioned it. We already talked about it a little bit.
Yep.
And both our interests in Arizona.
Yep.
Mine is purely on a money line standpoint. They're plus 205. I think for how tight this game could play and how close these teams could be and how close they actually are on a talent standpoint, I think plus 205 is fantastic value and a great opportunity to steal one. Secondly, we talk about this also. We have LSU versus South Carolina. It's in Columbia, as you said. I think LSU, they had a tough game to start the season, and then they bounced back, but I think they are a good program. I think they have good pieces, and I think Nussmeier's in a good spot. I think their defense has improved. I think all around this team has the potential to be really good. It's just, can they clean up? Can they avoid the penalties? Can they just not play really dumb, really hood?
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to get into that a little bit in the near future. But, this parlay is not that creepy. I feel like I'm missing something. I need just a team that I would not bet on. I mean, it's not creepy enough. What do we have here?
Yes, we have my creepy lock of the week.
Oh, my God.
The ultimate creep of creeps.
Oh, my God.
The Mountaineers themselves.
What?
Yeah, those
West
two
Virginia?
West Virginia.
In the backyard brawl?
In the backyard brawl.
Oh, my God. That's so creepy.
There is nothing creepier.
Oh, my God.
There is nothing
I'm not even going to watch that game. You're not even going to watch that game.
I will not put 1 second of time into watching this game. I can't name a player between both teams.
Neither can I.
I know that they're running back. I think he runs really hard, as they say. He's kind of a creep, and he's pretty aggressive.
Wow.
But for West Virginia, other than that, though, I really don't know. I barely watched the Penn State West Virginia game when they got rocked, so I don't know. But to me, I think West Virginia had a decent season last year. They kept a lot of the pieces, if I remember correctly. And I just think, this is a sneaky one, a creepy one. And
sure,
I think
it is. I would never watch that game.
Yeah, I won't either. So, but I think it's a good piece, good value to add on and to make this the ultimate sneaky, creepy 3-team money line parlay. So we have those 3 bets. When you put them together, equals to plus 687.
Wow.
I think this is great value.
That's great value.
I'll probably be putting maybe 2 units on.
Wow.
I think, I'm feeling that good about this bet.
Wow.
I think week 3, there are some opportunities, and I think I found the right value.
That's great.
A little sneaky value.
That's a great 3-team creepy parlay. We're going to shift over to CD spreads, 4-team spread. This is my 4 spreads that I really like this week. We're going to start with a big rivalry game. It's a shame because this game should be played on the last week of college football. It always has been, but because of conference realignment, we're getting it this week. It's Oregon State. Now, this game is in Corvallis, and I will not be taking the number 6 Oregon team in the country. I will be taking the unranked Oregon State Beavers plus 16.5. Take those fucking points. Oregon has not looked good. Dylan Gabriel has not looked good. He really is not a mobile quarterback. He does not have the arm. Is Oregon much better all around from a talent perspective? Yes, but this is a rivalry game. Oregon left the conference. It's in Corvallis. They are going to be pissed. They're going to be angry, loud, chirping. That's a rocking environment. It might get a little wet. That Pacific Northwest weather, the ball slips out. That's close games. 16.5 points. That is a lot of points. I really think that this will be a closer game than you think. Oregon last week, Boise State, who is basically the same exact thing, really, if we're being honest. that was a close game for Oregon when it really was not supposed to. The line was like 22-24. It was not even close to that. I think that the trend continues. I take Oregon State plus 16.5. My next pick, I'm taking Ole Miss, the Rebels, away on the road at Kink Chugs' Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Wow. Wake Forest lost to Virginia on week 1. UVA. That's horrible. That is a horrible team. So if you're going to not even be able to beat Virginia, and I don't know, to be honest with you, if that game was home or on the road. If it was at home, Jesus Christ. But I think that Ole Miss, they just put up 70 last week, I think.
Yeah.
70 against an HBCU, maybe. I don't know.
Wow.
But, I mean, that guy Jackson Dart. But, listen, this is a high-powered offense that's just looking to put points on an underperforming Wake Forest team. I think it'll be a 14-point game at half, maybe wraps up as a 28-point game. That's kind of how I like it. 22 points, not that bad. I will take Ole Miss here against a bad opponent at where home field. I don't know. You tell me, Kink Chugs. I don't think it really matters at all. I don't know if anybody goes to Wake Forest games. I wouldn't think so. Next one, and this is a little bit more just feeling the energy, but I'm riding with the creep and taking Arizona plus 7 tonight. I just think it's a close game, and I do honestly like the money line. I think it's pretty good, but I'm going to take 7. Maybe it's a close game. Somebody wins by a field goal. Goes either way. I just think that Arizona has the firepower this year to hang in the game and stick with them. We'll see. It's those Hawaiian kids. We'll see how it goes. I'm just going to believe. I'm going to drink the Kool-Aid here and take Arizona.
Even after last night, Tua, that Hawaiian boy.
Well, you know what? It's got to go right for some of them at some point. It can't all be bad with Island Nation. No, somebody's got to win, and I hope it's me. And that's going to leave me with my lock of the week. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm calling it. You pretty much talked about all the games. I feel like you're missing one. I don't know where you're going. You already know where I'm going. We're going to be taking my LSU Tigers on the road in Columbia, South Carolina. 6 points? That's a joke. That's disrespectful. Are you kidding me? We can't beat this team by a touchdown? Yeah, we can. Are you fucking kidding me? God, Nuss, sharp. Lacey, sharp. Defense, not sharp. I don't give a fuck. South Carolina is horrible. Hammer that line. Are you kidding me? 6 points is insane. That's disrespectful. We're going to cover double that, triple that. We might win the whole goddamn game by 40. I don't even care. I think it's a great line. I'm not just being biased here. I'm going to take them all the way to the bank. That's my 4 team, and that's the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back for picks in week 4. Thank you.